Good afternoon. We're back down. It's Thursday today, and we're back down at the pinball machine. We have taken the board home and reprogrammed it for the layout of the table, or at least I think I've done that. And so this is going to be our first turn on to see if we got the lights correct.
Party.
Go ahead, Mike. I'll step back so everybody can see it. Is the power supply plugged in under the table?
We didn't change it, so.
Yep, it's plugged in.
Alright, so go ahead and just kill that video for me.
Okay, we are back at the pinball machine. I have taken the board back, looked at the code in it, found at least one bug that would explain a lot of what was going on the last time we tried this. I'm not sure it explains everything, but I couldn't find anything else that would explain anything. So what it was I just didn't allow enough buffer storage space to store all of the 100 LEDs in when we laid the board out. So so now there is adequate space for that, and hopefully that will fix all the problems. So Mike, if you do the honors of turning it on, we'll see what happens. Well, no lights have lit up yet.
No lights cycling through the board.
Why don't you power it off, power it back on? It did that the first time we turned it on last time too.
Yeah. There we go. Wonder why it does that.
I don't know. And here we sit with absolutely nothing.
No lights.
No attractor mode.
No test mode either.
Okay, maybe I didn't get the thing.
Oh, no, we got lights flashing up here. These are the ones that are still.
Okay, so those are ones that are still controlled by the thing.
Right.
But that would tend to indicate that the straight through connector is passing the signals correctly.
Yes.
Okay, I am very, very, very confused. It looks like we definitely need to get this up on a laptop so that we can, that all looks good.
You know what? Did we unplug the power supply?
Did we? Could be, because I don't see any power on that thing. Yes, we did. That'll...
Should I turn everything on?
No, I'll just plug it in. It'll be fine. Blink, blink, blink. Reboot. And flashing lights.
It's amazing what a little bit of power.
And everything. Now, if you look at these lights, they're all flashing on and off with the test mode, but this one seems to be flashing at its own rate, and that's because the code actually flashes that LED itself. So we have two sources flashing the LED now, and that's why it looks a little different from the other ones. But everything else looks like it's on and working correctly.
You know, the GI lights appear not to be going off. They're just dimming and...
Well, the GI lights shouldn't go off at all.
Right,
they
well,
don't blink by this code. Okay, but the fact that they are dimming is an indication that the string can't get enough power.
Okay.
Just for the audience, this board will provide power down this row of lights, but that is not hooked up right now. So right now, all the LEDs are powered from the back end of the string up, and as that runs through there, that voltage drops. And this is common with these LED strings. If you ever watch anybody's videos on them, they'll tell you all about the fact that you need multiple injections of power into these systems. With just roughly 100 LEDs to deal with, just injecting at each end is probably going to be adequate. But if it isn't, we can always find a spot in the middle and inject 5 volts there too. But for this testing, we can deal with a little bit of dimming. So you want to start a game up?
Okay.
I am glad that it fixed that red lights in the thing there.
This light here is not flashing. Maybe it's not part of the test program, which is possible. And why don't we have any credits? Oh, we're still in test mode. Let me get out of test mode. Solenoid test. Counting.
Okay. So that light is still on, so it's possible that there's a programming malfunction there and it's thinking that that's a GI.
This one here is on. That's probably GI.
That is GI. But the 600 is on, and the brake shot lane 5000 is on. So I'll have to track those down and make sure I know which codes.
So the only thing that happens in a track mode, it appears, is that these balls count up.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
We're going to change that, of course. All right, so I guess we can try.
Okay. Remember, you have your flipper thing tied to the thing here.
Well,
your spinner is not correctly attached.
And that needs a little work. And what do we do with the ball?
I don't know. It's been moving around. Oh, it's right here.
Okay, so
that's probably just. It'll be okay if you leave it there.
We need to overhaul it. But anyway, I believe the lights are working.
Okay, so the one,
except for little one-offy things. Needs a little lubrication.
Yeah.
This is actually it's not on, so it should be. It's not firing, so this should be off right now.
Right.
So it's programmed to be on, but it needs to be programmed.
Yeah, and I imagine that's because it is programmed as a GI bulb.
Right.
So it's just turned on. How do you get the special light here to turn on?
Let's see. Making 8-ball lights right lane out lane special. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There it is.
Okay, so that light works perfectly. Color looks right. Okay, how about getting these to go up? Is it just...
Yep, it's that.
Okay. We have a sticky star.
That might be one of those wires that's loose underneath the playfield.
Oh, that's true. We do have some switches loose.
So that could be that.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm confident that we can fix all this small stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm convinced that the programming is right, except for a few
pretty
little
close
oddities here.
Yeah, and I expected those.
So.
And we'll have some more when we add these in and shift the stuff down. But it's getting real close.
Yeah, these are working properly. Let's see. There's 2 or 3 of these switches that might be not working.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. There's definitely one there, and there's one here that's not working.
Okay.
and we know these will work. So, it's got a little bit of
to do, but it looks really good. So that's it for now. I'll go take a look at the code and check those specific two lights out. What the heck was that?
All right, that's a special option that's not selected. That's like a 25,000 point and not a free game.
Okay.
So it's a selection on the dip switches that that needs to be looked at.
Okay. Hey, we're getting there.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot. I will probably, after this, pop into a little bit of the code to show you guys what was wrong and what I fixed on this. And that'll be it. So thanks a lot for watching. Okay, we're going to quickly look at the code, and I will show you the problem that caused the flashing of the LEDs. It was just a little oversight in my buffers. So at the beginning of the code, right here, I had originally defined the number of LEDs as 89. There were 60 controlled LEDs and 29 general illumination LEDs for a total of 89. So when we wired the unit up, we wired it starting with LED 100. So since I was now using the entire string, I needed to define this as 100 LEDs, but I forgot to do that. However, down lower in my code, I have a couple of arrays. One is a general array, and this is where the GI lights are. And I had that count set to 29. And the main sort count I had set to 60. And this is my main sort array here. So that was all set up. And what I did was I just came in and I added more GI lights. I brought this count up to 40, which gave me 100 LEDs. However, I forgot to go back and set my string here to 100. I left it at 89. So since I was only defining enough buffer space for 89 LEDs, and since C++ doesn't warn you when it's going to overwrite something, it was writing data into these buffers and causing that flickering. It would write the LED correctly and then it would overwrite something. So the fix I did was to not define my general count as a number, but instead define it as a mathematical term that said that if I take my total number of LEDs and I subtract my main sort count from that, then what is left is the general LEDs. So if I set my strip up here to 100, then I will have to have 40 things under this general array, because this math, 100 minus 60, will give the general count of 40. If I haven't defined 40 things in here, then I will get a compile error and I will know that I messed up my math somewhere. So hopefully this will keep me from messing up the math. Now in the video, you saw that the one light was staying on all the time, the arrow in the lower left corner of the screen. Well, as it turns out, that lamp is actually in parallel with another lamp. So it is in parallel with the spinner. And so I named this spinner in 50 arrow. So LED 53 is the spinner, and I added this little section down here which says that LED 61, which is that arrow, is the brake shot, and it's a copy of this LED. So I have to add a little code down in my code, and I'm not going through all this code for you guys tonight, but in the code where I fill in my arrays that come from the MPU of the pinball machine and turn the LEDs on or off depending on what it is saying, I just have this little copy routine here that just says copy LED 60, but so I said 61, but it's the array is 0 through 60, so it's position 60 that I'm copying from position 43, and I bet you that's supposed to be 42. Let me go back up here and check that. I think you guys might have helped me found a bug. Okay, where was that? It's right here. I know you're seeing it, aren't you? There it is. It's 43, so it should be position 42. So we'll fix that. Okay, so that'll duplicate that, so now both those lights will turn on and off at the same time, and that should fix the problem. The other problem with the up in the whatever you call that channel on the right where the light was stuck on, I believe that is caused by the switch being pushed down and stuck down, which causes the pinball machine when it starts up to say, the rollover has been rolled over, advanced to the next position, but then it never comes back up, so it never lets it reset. And so it just sticks at that point. So we will fix that. That's a mechanical problem, I'm pretty sure. There doesn't seem to be any problems in the code for that light. So that's it for now. I will clean this up, burn this code to the board, and we will try it out, and that will be in the next posting. So thanks a lot for watching, and have a great day.